Hello there and welcome to VGC, coming at you today with the worst laptop camera quality ever. Today we have got breaking news that according to Mr. Andy Robinson, who's here with me today, he has special sources who tell him that
Special sauces.
specials, not just normal sources, the most
Sounds like it's
special.
like special rice.
It's like special sauces in a Big Mac. Special sources have told Andy that Nintendo Switch successor development kits are now in the hands of some key developers, and that the console is now aiming for a launch in the second half of 2024. Andy, please tell us a bit more about what your sources have revealed to you.
So the gist of it is that we know that development kits are with key partner studios. So think of kind of Nintendo's closest development partners at the moment. And according to people I've spoken to, a launch is likely at the tail end of next year, but certainly next year. And what I was told was that a lot of the thinking behind this, I mean, obviously Nintendo released the Switch at the start of the year, which is something it kind of worked well because they were able to get into their current routine of releasing a game every single month. And by the time Christmas rolls around, they had a very, very strong lineup on Switch. So it's unexpected to hear that they are likely to be targeting later in the year. And the explanation for that I was given was that they want to ensure, kind of a strong supply of stock when they launch.
Yeah.
That's obviously been a big issue, not just for Nintendo, but for the other platform holders the last couple of years. I mean, we've seen, even though kind of PS5 and Xbox Series X are in there, coming up to, I mean, wow, how many years is it? Is it 4 years now?
Yeah, maybe 4 years.
I don't think it's about 3 years.
3 or 4,
it will be 4 by the time I think this console turns around, the Nintendo console. But it doesn't feel like that because it took a while to get going. Because of the stock shortages. I mean, you pretty much couldn't buy these machines.
Yeah.
And it's still, not super easy to get an Xbox Series X right now. So, I mean, obviously, that with those caveats, that those are things that we have been told by multiple sources. I mean, of course, Nintendo typically keeps its biggest details close to its chest. So the most unique features of the console that it doesn't have to reveal, we're unlikely to know about at this stage. Because, you can imagine, for example, I mean, I actually broke the story 10 years ago that the Wii U had a touchscreen controller. I reported at the time that it was a HD screen controller. And you have to you can look back at that reporting and kind of get an idea about how, kind of some of this reporting on early kind of dev kits and stuff is done. And it's through knowing people who have seen it or used it, and then they describe it to you. So I don't think the Wii U controller actually ended up being HD.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was it wasn't SD though, was it? It was like in between the two, I think. Was it 720p or was it sub 720p?
I want to say it was 720p.
But anyway,
either way, it wasn't HD.
But to my point, you look at it and you go, "That's HD."
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't look like an SD screen.
Yeah.
It looks pretty great. The Wii U screen at the time.
Yeah.
So that's how these things come about. So if it's something that's tangible, like we're making games and it needs to have a portable mode, because when people are developing games for Switch, they have two kind of modes that they have to develop for portable and for docked. So that is something that, you're kind of confident about. I mean, obviously, there's a chance that they, we've changed our mind and it's now docked, but that's not going to happen. I think this was always going to be another kind of evolution of the hybrid console, especially for, I'll give you an example, like Pokemon, the series Pokemon is Nintendo's biggest series. They're not releasing Pokemon on a platform that isn't usable as a portable. So that was always an obvious. And the kind of other things that I've been told by various sources. A couple of people suggested to me that it will launch with an LCD screen instead of an OLED, which is a little bit disappointing for some people.
Do you think that's just to keep costs down?
It is all cost. This is almost certainly going to be a more expensive console than the first Switch was at launch. Even if down to the fact that, I mean, I note in my story that these obviously, I mean, I'm not really sure how powerful the machine is going to be. That I'm sure that will come from someone else,
Yeah.
as kind of reporting kind of gears up as they start manufacturing this thing and more developers get it. But let's assume, for example, that the speculation that it's going to be like sort of PS4 Pro power
Yeah.
is true. Then, I mean, even PS4 Pro games are coming in at over 100 gig. You know, a lot of those games, right?
Yeah.
So the 32 gigabytes that came internal memory for the Switch is not going to cut it at
No,
all, right?
definitely not.
So even that, like increasing that, you know, the more powerful components and the fact that it's a portable console and not some, you know, with a screen on it and not something that, you know,
Yeah.
just sits under a desk. So I think it is going to be a more expensive console in general, and
Yeah.
so that is a consideration. It's always been a consideration with Nintendo. They've never been cutting edge. They're all about kind of creating a unique proposition more than competing with other companies in terms of power.
Yeah.
I've been told that it'll have kind of a physical game slot again with cartridges. It's not sure if they'll be the same as the Switch, but I suspect they will not.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings us to backwards compatibility. I've heard kind of conflicting things here.
Yeah, this is the thing that I've since the story went up. I've seen this is the thing that people have been catching on and been a bit concerned about. But it feels like one of those things that, again, like you say, Nintendo keeps stuff close to its chest. This seems to be the sort of thing that it doesn't.
But again, that's something that developers would know. You know, I'm currently working on a Switch game coming out next year. Is this going to work on a new console, or do I need to make a new one? You know, can we add a patch for our Switch game?
Yeah.
It is something they'd know about, which is interesting to me that I hear mixed things. Like I've not heard enough to put it in the story, basically, so I won't really say it here. It's unclear.
Yeah.
You know, the suggestion I have. I mean, Nintendo has said on record that it wants to make, you know, kind of persuade as many as Switches, you know, 100 million plus over to the new console as possible.
Yeah.
It's a lot about doing that via its digital accounts. It's not ever explicitly said about backwards compatibility, because you've got to keep in mind that's a technical hurdle as well. They need to solve that to be able to make those games to run on the new machine if they're going to change key components. But I had heard some suggestion that some publishers were pushing back at the idea of that, because I mean, for software sales on PS5 are, you know, kind of they're down somewhat at the moment, and you know, people are buying less new games on that console. And I think the suggestion that I heard was that obviously, what would that do in a Nintendo situation? If you, I mean, obviously, it's the key thing here is the digital ecosystem, right? Phil Spencer said this about PS4, Xbox One, that it was the worst generation for them to lose because people established their library. So it's kind of unique from that perspective that you turn on Switch 2, and just like we all turned on Xbox Series X or PS5, and all your games are there.
Yeah.
You're not going to buy as many new games, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, everyone picks up a few duds at launch because they're new and they want to play them on the new system.
Yeah.
So there's that discussion that I heard it is kind of taking place. That's pretty much the gist of what's in the story.
It's an interesting one. It's obviously the Switch 2 and Switch successor rumours have been kind of doing the rounds for a long time, and we generally tend not to kind of touch them, because obviously, like, a lot of rumours and speculation. You got that with the Switch when it was the NX, and everyone remembers the fake photos of fake consoles and stuff like that. So I see some people reacting to their story like, oh, here's another Switch 2 rumour, but I'm sure you'd agree that we wouldn't report on something like this unless your sources and what you've been told weren't kind of enough to make you confident that this is actually worth doing.
You know, I don't think we need to defend ourselves.
No, of course I wouldn't.
We don't make stuff up. I mean, my track record speaks for itself. As I said, I was the first journalist to report on
Metal Gear,
the Wii U controller before that was announced.
Yeah.
So my track record speaks for itself. I think there will actually be a lot more better in-depth reporting on this in the coming kind of weeks and months.
Yeah.
That was part of the reason I put this out, because I don't doubt that there are other journalists working on this story. Everyone's always working on stories like this.
Yeah.
It's just about knowing when you have enough details to publish, right? And for me, I thought it was important to get this story out there because I honestly think it's going to be the floodgates are going to open somewhat.
Yeah.
I think Tokyo Game Show will be an important update for this, because I think Nintendo will start talking more widely with other partners. I would kind of be surprised if we make it to 2024 and they've not talked about it in their kind of earnings calls and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, they always do that. Whenever they launch a new console, the first sign is they mention it in a kind of earnings call or in their results. They say, oh, well, we're going to talk about it next year. We're going to release it next year, or it's called Codename NX or Dolphin or what have you.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if that doesn't happen. I mean, of course, they've got results coming out this week, I believe, as well. So who knows? Yes.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. This article may be a catalyst that starts further articles, and then hopefully
I think it will.
Yeah. Hopefully, what has been a rumor mill for ages might actually hopefully now start.
And you have to keep in mind as well is that once they start manufacturing this thing as well, then Nintendo are aware of this as well, right?
Yeah.
That you can't, if you don't talk about it before you start making the thing, then the details will start coming out.
Yeah.
And I should always add the caveat as well that obviously Nintendo's the worst company to report on stuff that's not absolutely tangible, like concrete, because they're so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Even industry analysts, say that they hate predicting Nintendo because you're almost certainly wrong. You just can't predict what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So timing is the worst thing to report on. I've been told by multiple people that it's late 2024.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo have said they're not releasing anything this fiscal year. So it tallies. Some people think that's odd because, as I said, it went so well releasing a game every month leading up to their first Christmas with Switch. However, that's the word from multiple people.
Yeah. But it's also when by the time the second half of 2024 will be 7.5 years since the Switch came out, and that's like the longest they've ever. Not since the Famicom, but the Super Famicom, they've never had a gap that big between two systems. So it makes sense. That's the time. That's the kind of maximum time you would.
Yeah, of course, it makes complete sense. I mean, their software and their hardware sales are predicted to be down double digits. This year. Yeah. Switch is on the decline. Obviously, they're in kind of almost uncharted territory. That they are still selling this thing. I mean, me and Christopher Dring from GamesIndustry.biz and I kind of got a bit of flack for suggesting that Zelda would be the last big game. But that certainly, you look at their last Direct, it's very much a lineup of a console on the transition, lots and lots of remasters, lots and lots of ports.
Yeah.
I mean, Super Mario Brothers Wonder looks fantastic. But I'm led to believe it's not the main Mario team. It's a younger team.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2D Mario is not 3D Mario these days. The 3D Mario, it's not a megaton to say that is coming. From what I'm told, Nintendo don't launch a console without a very, very strong lineup of games. You can look at all of their last consoles, and certainly Switch was a hit. Partly because it launched and it had Mario and it had Mario Kart and it had Pokemon and it had Zelda all very, very close.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at launch. And obviously they were able to do that launching early in the year over kind of month by month by month by month. If they're launching later in the year, then they're going to have an even stronger lineup in theory.
Yeah.
So I'd be very, very interested to see, kind of what it comes with.
Yeah, it's going to be curious stuff. Well, hopefully what has been rumours for months and months and months online, hopefully we'll now start to get more concrete evidence and more concrete information as the months roll on now, because hopefully this story and the subsequent stories that will follow will kind of start filling in the blanks, and nobody will be posting fake photoshopped images of weird controllers and stuff, although this being the internet, it will happen. Thank you very much, Andy, for your insight as always, and please keep it with VGC for all of your gaming news, and next time we will be back with significantly better webcam quality, minus Mother Teresa paintings in the background. Thanks guys, catch you later, bye bye.